All right, Saturday morning Krug show up and running, up and rolling. We got a big day of college football. Niners Cards go tomorrow. We want to talk with you and talk a little bit about the game. Let's go. Let's go. Off and running Saturday morning, few minutes late. Sorry I'm behind again. Thanks to all of you who are here. Welcome to the Krug Show. Brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. We will be at Pig and a Pickle on December the 7th for our meet and greet 2025. We do it during the bye week. We'll at in Corte Madera all day long. Stop by, have some barbecue, have some brisket, have some pulled pork, have some barbecued chicken. Maybe they've got amazing stuff. Maybe get some of those bag of potato chips. Maybe order a beer or root beer or whatever you're drinking and hang out. We're just gonna have a little open house there on December 7th. I'll be there all day watching football. It's the bye week. And so I'll be camping out in Corte Madera, not Emeryville, Corte Madera. So don't go to Emeryville expecting to see me. I won't be there. But if you go to Corte Madera in Marin County, I will be there all day on the 7th of December. And I'd love to see all of you there. As many people as can show up would be awesome. Last time we did a Krug Show meet and greet, I think we had like 50 or 60 people show up. I'd like to see if we could beat that this time, if possible. But we'll be there. We'll be having barbecue. We'll be hanging out. We may even have a few gifts to give away. So stop by the Krug Show. It's kind of an open house. Stop by any point throughout the day. Get some barbecue. Maybe order barbecue later on. It's also going to be, December 7th. So it's going to be between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And that's a phenomenal mall, the mall there in Marin County. So the Corte Madera Mall is a fantastic shopping mall. It's kind of an indoor-outdoor mall. It's kind of more of an outdoor mall, actually. But it's really cool. So check it out. Stop by, watch some football, maybe bring the missus, let her do some Christmas shopping when you hang out, watching some ball, drinking a beer. Or maybe you want to do the Christmas shopping and let the missus hang out because she's the big Krug Show fan. Either way, we're good. But we'll see you on December 7th at Pig and a Pickle in Corte Madera. And, of course, we're also brought to you by this entire 49er football season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, Sleeper picks. Most importantly, for daily fantasy, use promo code Larry, Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. And thanks to Sleeper for sponsoring us. And we've had a bunch of luck winning on Sleeper, and I know a bunch of you have as well. So, last couple of weeks, not so much, but man, we got off to a really hot start. So thanks to Sleeper. It's a lot of fun. We really appreciate it. We got Matt in the chat saying Pig and a Pickle. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. Always the sponsors always appreciate that as well. And he comes back with Big Krug. What's up, Matt? Good to see you, man. Let's see. We got a guy saying, I guess tomorrow this live stream. I was a little late, Michael. A little late. It was scheduled for 10:05 or for 9:05, and I got here around 9:15. So I'm running 10 minutes behind, which is about right for me. All right, let's get into this thing. We titled it 49er Surge. Purdy's back. The weapons are healthy. The soft schedule's ahead. Is this going to be a great run for the Niners? Or is this going to be a rude awakening for the 49ers? And I think it could be either. And let's talk about why it could be either, okay? First of all, look at the schedule. Arizona, and it's not just Arizona. It's Arizona banged up. No Marvin Harrison, no Zay Jones. They're really beat up. They had a bunch of guys on the injured list, more than the Niners, quite a bit more than the Niners. So they're banged up for sure. And that should change the dynamic of this game a little bit. Just looking at their list of game status. Baron Browning is out. Their guard, Hayden Connor, out. Marvin Harrison Jr., out. Will Johnson, their best young corner, out. Dadrion Taylor Demerson, their fantastic safety, out. Those guys are all out for sure. Right now, out. Now, going into tomorrow, their guard, Will Hernandez, who's about as wide as a, he's like a bus. He's one of the widest profile players in the entire league. He's questionable. Zonovan Knight, the running back, the big, tall running back who runs upright, he's questionable. Walter Nolan is questionable. Big defensive tackle coming off a couple of really good games. I actually wasn't as good in Seattle, but it was great against Dallas. B.J. Ojulari, also questionable. Darius Robinson, also questionable. So you're getting a Cardinals team that's not really rolling, right? I mean, you're getting a Cardinal team that just got their doors. They just basically got their doors beat off last week. They fell into a 35-0 hole to Seattle, and then Seattle just ran it the entire second half on them, piled up almost 200 rushing yards, piled up nearly 50 rushes. So you can run on this team. At least Seattle could run on this team. Doesn't mean the Niners can, but Seattle could. So you got Arizona. Then you got Carolina. And Carolina's been an upstart team, but you get the feeling like that might have just been, a few week type thing. They're not a great team. Then you play the Cleveland Browns on the road with Dylan Gabriel. Then you have the bye week. Then you come off the road for Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans, who statistically are the worst team in the game right now. So the next 4 weeks, with your starting quarterback back, with 2 of the games at home, your starting quarterback's back. You got Ricky Pearsall back. This should be go time, right? I mean, you should go from scoring 20 points a game to scoring 30 points a game, and you should beat Arizona, Cleveland, and Carolina and Tennessee with ease. Brock should run. If Brock is Brock, he should run the table, go 4-0. And the 49ers should look up a month from now and be like, all right, we're a 10-win football team with Indianapolis, Chicago, and Seattle left to play, and then it's playoff time. So if things go according to plan, Brock stays healthy, 49ers offense rebounds, maybe the return of Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall give them a little bit more of a vertical element to their passing game. Maybe that in and of itself opens up the run lanes for McCaffrey and Brian Robinson. Maybe the young defense on the back end starts to thrive. Maybe they start to figure out some games they can play up front to scheme open some one-on-ones. I mean, ultimately, we asked Saleh this week, hey, what are you going to do about this pass rush? This pass rush is god-awful. And he looked at us and he's like, these guys got to win one-on-ones. So that there's not a lot of ambiguity to that. There's not a lot of scheming or wondering about that. It's like, can these guys win on one-on-ones? They haven't been able to yet. That's really the problem, is they can't win one-on-ones. And so everything has to be schemed up. You got to play games up front. You got to move people. You got to overload a side. You got to blitz. They blitzed 55% of the time last week. It's the highest blitz rate in the last 9 years for the 49ers. So he threw the kitchen sink at the Rams, and they still, beat up the Niners badly, scored over 40. So we'll see. But on paper, at Arizona, home against Carolina, at Cleveland, home against Tennessee, should be 4-0. And if you go 4-0 there, then you're a 10-win football team. And you're 10-4 with 3 games left. So you could wind up losing at Indy, home to the Bears, and at Seattle. You could lose 3 in a row to finish and go 10-7. But this is the go time. Because if you don't win these games, these easy games, then you got 3 tougher games. It's going to be tough to beat the Colts in Indy. It's going to be tough to beat Seattle the way they're playing. It's going to be tough to beat the Bears the way they're playing. So it's starting to those last 3 games look pretty tough. Tougher definitely than they looked early in the year. Definitely tougher than they looked in the offseason when Indy looked like a bad team. Chicago looked like a bad team. Seattle, who knew what Seattle was going to be? They were a lot of question marks. So it's really, can you win these 4 easy games? And if you can, you really probably don't have to win those 3 kind of hard games at the end. But for every game in this 4-game easy stretch that you lose, there's 1 game in the hard stretch you're going to have to win. So if you go 4-0, guess what? You can not show up for the final 3 games and probably still make the playoffs at 10-7. You win 4 in a row, you maybe could lose to Indy, the Bears, and Seattle and still get in. You go 3-1 and lose one of these games, now you're going to need a win. You're probably going to need to beat the Bears. That's going to be a huge game then. If you lose 2 here, let's say you lose to Arizona and you lose at Cleveland, but you win the home games against Carolina and Tennessee, which seems to be probably the most likely of the scenarios. Is if they're going to lose, they're probably going to lose the road games at Arizona and at Cleveland. They'll probably win at home against Carolina and Tennessee. If you go 2-2, you may need to win 2 of the final 3 to get in. And then it's like, well, can you beat Seattle in week 18? Well, maybe if they have nothing to play for. But if there's something to play for, that's going to be a very tough game. The way they're playing right now, you may have to beat Indianapolis in Indy. And that's no easy task. I don't think they've lost at home this year. Now they've got, a great shutdown corner in Sauce Gardner to go with the rest of their team. Now, DeForest Buckner is on the IR right now. So maybe Indy's not quite what they were up front. But that's how I see the last 7 games here. You've got Brock getting healthy. You've got Ricky coming back. You've got the promise of your whole veteran offense together. They've only been together for 1 drive. I don't know if you guys saw those numbers. 1 drive is all the 49ers have been together for. Couple interesting things. If you look at Brock Purdy's passer rating in his 4 starts against Arizona, bodes well for tomorrow. He's got a 120.4 passer rating in 4 starts against Arizona. It's the highest for any player with at least 3 starts against the Cardinals. So Purdy has got career success against the Cardinals. What's the big matchup to watch for in this thing? Well, the Niners have won 5 of the past 7 games overall between the teams. The Cardinals are 7-4 against the Niners in the past 11 there at State Farm in Glendale. But I think the key matchup is the Niners offensive line against this Cardinal defensive line. You've got the veterans, Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell, and they're good. These guys can get to the quarterback. Sweat's got 8 sacks. Campbell has 5. They're going to try to get after turf toe Purdy all day. And can the Niners block? Calais Campbell in the first matchup had a phenomenal game. Now, this situation is a little bit better because Baron Browning is out. So they don't have Browning. So it's really, you can tilt the offensive line towards Josh Sweat and try to take him away. And that's probably the way they'll go. So another thing to look for in this game, the Niners haven't lost back-to-back all year. The 3 times they've lost this year, they've bounced back with losses. So we'll see if they can do it again. How about this? The 49ers, who are known for running the football. The 49ers who have Kyle Shanahan, whose scheme is all about running the football. The 49ers who have CMC, who might be, one of the best backs of his generation, have no runs for at least 20 yards in the first 10 games of the season for the first time since 1986. I was a sophomore in high school the last time the Niners had gone 10 games with not a 20-yard run. They've had 290 consecutive carries without a run of 20 yards or more. Patrick Taylor in week 1, or had one, I should say, in week 18 last season against Arizona. That was their last 20-yard run. Patrick Taylor last season. I mean, that's embarrassing. The Niners are averaging 94.8 rush yards per game. It's the worst for the team through 10 games since 2007, when they averaged 84.3 yards per game rushing. So run the ball is sounds easy. It's proving to be very difficult. It's proving to be very, very difficult for the 49ers. The other thing that just burns the Niners is they cannot win the turnover margin. They're -8 turnover margin. It's the second worst in the NFL. I mean, that right there is a killer. You got to be able to win the turnover margin. So, and it's really because the 49ers are struggling. They're last in the NFL with 1.2 sacks per game. When you can't speed up the quarterback, it's hard to do anything. I mean, right there. I mean, you're not going to get turnovers if you can't speed up the quarterback. Those things go hand in hand. You speed up the quarterback, he throws it before he wants to throw it, and he throws it to one of your guys. Niners have not been able to impact the quarterback. And now here comes Jacoby Brissett. He's thrown 144 straight passes without an interception. It's the fourth longest streak in the history of their franchise. So he doesn't throw picks, and the Niners don't get pressure, and the Niners don't get picks. So that's an area where other teams excel, and the 49ers don't. Now, the key with turnovers is if you can't produce any defensively, it puts more pressure on your offense not to turn it over. And the guy to look for on Sunday is Denzel Burke, the rookie corner from Ohio State, who was a 6th-round pick. This guy's had an interception in each of the past 2 games. He's a really good corner. That was a great pick by Monty Ossenfort. So there you go. Josh Sweat, by the way, has got 3 strip sacks this year, tied with Aiden Hutchinson for most sacks, and then that forced a fumble in the entire league. So this guy can ruin your day all by himself. And then Calais Campbell is a monster. By the way, Calais Campbell has played 270 NFL games. 270. He is the ultimate Iron Man. 3rd all-time among defensive linemen. Only Jim Marshall and Bruce Smith played more NFL games than Calais. Calais Campbell has been playing football for a long, long time and playing it at a very high level, I might add. He's been really good. And he was amazing in the first matchup. So those are just a couple thoughts on this matchup. When these teams faced each other back in week 3, it was Mac Jones beating Kyler Murray. And now the roles reversed. It'll be Brock Purdy going up against Jacoby Brissett. Brissett makes his 5th start since replacing Murray with an injury. The Niners are 6-4. The Cardinals are 3-6. But Shanahan said, hey, man, they're as good as us. They could have our record, basically. I mean, they've lost a lot of close games. 49ers are 2.5-point favorite. Niners lead the all-time series 37-31. Last week, of course, Niners got beat 42-26 by the Rams. Seahawks beat the Cardinals 44-22. There aren't that many games in the NFL where both teams are coming off a 40-point shellacking. Usually when somebody hangs 40 on you, man, the next game you're ready to roll. So does that mean both teams are going to be ready to roll? It's possible. It's possible. Arizona, I think, is even more beat up, though. They're going to be without 26.3% of their targets. Marvin Harrison and Zay Jones both ruled out. So that's a break. And that is a break. Harrison's got an appendicitis. Jones tore his Achilles, so they're out. Arizona's offense already has had its share of struggles. They're 20th in points scored, 21st in yards gained. So now we'll see what the 20th rated offense looks like without their 2 top receivers. And the thing about it is their offense had a little bit of a resurgence recently under Brissett, averaging 24.8 points per game. Under Murray, in Murray's 5 games, they averaged 20.6. So they're up 4 points a game, 4.2 points a game improvement under Brissett. But that's with their receivers. He looked great against Dallas, but he had Marvin Harrison Jr. Really what this game is going to be about is, can the 49ers stop Trey McBride? Trey McBride's one of the best tight ends in football. He might be better than Kittle. He had 127 yards in week 10 in their loss to Seattle. And now without Fred Warner, the Niners have not been able to defend the tight end. They've given up the 3rd most touchdowns to the tight end of any team, 6. And now here comes McBride. And with no Harrison and no Jones, McBride is going to be a major factor. And he's been very effective with Jacoby Brissett. In fact, since Brissett has been there, McBride is averaging 8 receptions for 82 yards and a 1.25 touchdowns in the last month. So McBride's great, and he's greater now that he's got a quarterback like Brissett that hangs in the pocket and delivers the ball. And now with Harrison out, McBride's going to be the focal point. He's got 4 games this season with at least 10 targets. You can put this one down for sure. It's a lock that he's going to have 10 targets. He may have 20 targets. So he leads Arizona. He's got 61 catches, 602 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, ranks first among NFL tight ends in catches, second in yards receiving, second in touchdown catches. He's had at least one touchdown catch in each of the last 4 games. So there you go. I mean, it is going to be a challenge. It is going to be a huge challenge. The Cardinals don't produce a lot of pass rush, and now without Browning, that should be even better. Their defense creates pressure on 18.6% of dropbacks. That's 11th lowest rate in the league, according to Pro Football Reference. So, this is Purdy going up against one of the bottom half of the league pass rushes. This is why Shanahan didn't play him last week against the Rams and is playing him this week against the Cardinals. Real simple. Rams have a killer pass rush, and the Cardinals don't. And so I think that was the thinking. Let's get a softer landing for Brock. Only 6 teams have fewer sacks this season than the Arizona Cardinals. So we'll see. They really struggle, to get any kind of pressure. And you look at the Rams last week. The Rams last week were a top 10 pressure rate team in the league. And so Shanahan's like, let's hold Brock off. I think he needs a little bit more rest. And I think that's all about doing Brock right as much as possible, trying to put him in as good a spot as he can. He's going to have some rust, right? You don't want him going against the Rams. You'd rather have him going against the Cardinals. So how does the offensive line play? The Niners have allowed pressure on 20.2% of their dropbacks, 18th best in the league. They allowed 19 pressures and 43 dropbacks when the Niners beat the Cardinals back in week 3. But Mac Jones was only sacked once. Why? Because he gets the ball out fast. That's the other wrinkle. Brock Purdy holds it. He's got more of a downfield passing attack, but he also holds the ball. So, how mobile is Purdy going to be after 2 months out with a toe injury? We're going to find out. It's going to be one of the major factors in this game is what kind of mobility, what kind of escapability does Brock Purdy have? The other wrinkle that we haven't mentioned, cornerback Demo Lenore injured his calf during Thursday's practice, tried to go on Friday, didn't. They said they're going to get an MRI. They didn't think it was too serious. He did it jogging away from a drill, just some calf tightness. So they'll get the MRI. But if he can't go, it's Darrell Luter Jr. So I think there's a very good chance that you're not going to see Demo Lenore in this game. So the Niners, they don't put any pressure up front. I mean, the 49er DBs don't look very good. A lot of these people are coming up to me, oh man, these young DBs are no good. No, dude, they're good. They're fine. They have no pass rush. When you have no pass rush, all DBs will look bad. You can get Eric Wright and Deion Sanders, greatest corners in Niners history. They would look bad if you had no pass rush. So, once Nick Bosa went out with the torn ACL, the Niners then lost McKell. The Niners rank in the bottom of the league in several measures pertaining to rushing the quarterback. They're tied for the fewest amount of sacks with 12. They have the lowest number of pressures in the entire league with 51. Their pressure rate of 13.7%, dead last in the NFL. And they have Bryce Huff. Huff is 10th among all edge rushers in pass rush win rate at 18.3%, and their pass rush still sucks. So Sam McQuinu's been pretty good, 12% sack rate, or pressure rate, I should say. So he's been valuable off the edge for sure. He's a good player, but they need more. They need more, and they didn't get help at the deadline. It's funny, too. Somebody sent a note saying the Niners are screwed either way here. If they beat Arizona and Purdy looks great, it's like, why the hell didn't you get some help at the trade deadline? Now that Purdy's back. If Purdy plays terrible, it's like, get Mac Jones in there. The big problem with the 49er pressure, and this is why I was like, hey, man, I was kind of hoping that they would make a big play for Quinnen Williams at the trade deadline because they have no inside pass rush. It's like we have to have an inside pass rush. Let's pay $20 million for Javon Hargrave. Oh, Hargrave didn't work out? Oh, we'll just go with whoever now. Where's that? How does that? There's no consistency at all with philosophy there. Jordan Elliott has improved from last year in the pass rush category, but the 49er defensive tackle win rate, there's not one 49er defensive tackle that has a win rate in double figures. Not one. None of these guys are doing the job inside. That's why I'm like, hey, let's see Sebastian Valdez. At least I know he'll play hard. Gross Matos, by the way, that was a loss. Very underrated loss. He was thriving as an inside rusher. His win rate when rushing from the interior was 23.4%. It was the best in the NFL when he went down. So Yatir Gross Matos, even though we talk about injuries, oh, man, they don't have this guy. They don't have that guy. They don't have Bosa. They don't have Warner. When they lost Yatir Gross Matos, they lost a lot. They really did. And now, of course, the question nationally coming into this game is, what are the Niners going to do in the offseason with Mac Jones? You know, what price should they take for a trade? He's under contract next year for $7 million. If they let him walk in 2027, he'll have a bunch of teams calling him. That's 2 years from now. And the Niners would get a comp pick probably in the 4th round, maybe 3rd round in the 2028 draft. So why you would trade him for anything less than a 3rd round pick is crazy. I would say he's going to get a 2nd round pick and a player, or maybe a 2nd round pick and a day 3 pick. But it'll be more than a 2nd. He won't just go for a 2nd. He'll go for a 2nd and something else. And I don't even know if I would trade him. I might keep him. You know, he's been really, really good. 49ers are averaging 22 points a game. That's 23rd in the NFL. And by the way, if you think that sounds good, it's not. That's the fewest points per game through 10 games that they've had since year 1 under Shanahan, where they averaged 17.4 points per game with a kind of a depleted cast. They didn't have a great roster back in 2017. So 22 points a game. So if you say, why is he going away from Jones? I think Shanahan understands that his defense is not very good and that they need to score more points. They need to be more dynamic. They need to go down the field. They don't go down the field as much with Mac. They go down the field more with Brock. I mean, beyond the fact they paid Brock, he's their guy, he wants to come back, all those reasons. I think team-wise, they want to produce more offense. They think if they can produce closer to 30 points a game, that they may have a shot. So we'll see. I want to see more of Brian Robinson Jr., the backup running back. The Cardinals are giving up 5.5 yards per carry to outside zone runs. That's 4th most in the NFL. The Niners are really, really good at outside zone runs, and Robinson's been more effective than CMC this year. CMC went for 2.5 yards a carry last week. Robinson the last 2 weeks is averaging 7 yards a carry. Run Robinson more. Am I some football genius? No. I just know enough about the difference between 7 and 2 to know that that's good or bad, depending on how you're looking at it. Run Brian Robinson. Run Brian Robinson. Really as simple as that. Let's hit a couple supers here. Bill Kennedy in the house says 49ers usually lose 1 or 2 games they should win. Oh, yeah. I mean, always. Going back to the Walsh years. The Niners in the 80s, it's like they never lost games. They lost games. They usually would lose early season games at home when there wasn't a lot of atmosphere and there wasn't a lot on the line. I was at one of them. I was at the Eagles 40-8 win in their last Super Bowl winning year, 1994. 94 Niners won the Super Bowl. They were one of the greatest teams of all time. And yet they got destroyed at home in like week 3 or 4 by Charlie Garner and the Philadelphia Eagles, 40-8. And it was the game that Seifert yanked Young, and Young went crazy on the sidelines. It was just an emotional day for the 49ers for sure. They had a lot of expectations that year. They fulfilled them, but not that day. Silent in the house, his big fail was not signing Calais Campbell in 2017 free agency. Beast. Yeah, I mean, Calais Campbell's been a great, great player. He really has for a lot of years, and he just keeps going. And it's funny, I was talking to Ben Barch. I said, hey, man, who are you matching up with in this game? And he's like, man, it could be anybody. It could be Nolan. It could be Calais. And I said, have you gone up against Calais a bunch in your career? And he's like, yeah, I have. And I said, what makes him so good? And he's like, dude is just so strong. He's so strong. He knows what he's doing. He's got great technique. He knows how to rush the passer. He's great with leverage. But he said the strength of this guy is just off the charts. A lot of 6'8" players don't have great functional strength. Calais Campbell does. He really does. He's got phenomenal functional strength. So, 49ers have to get that Cardinal defensive line blocked. That is going to be absolutely paramount. If Brock Purdy's running for his life, the 49ers also, have to play from ahead. Do what Seattle did and make this, get a good couple touchdown lead and then just run the heck out of it. Run the heck out of it against them. What's going to be a disaster is if the 49ers fall behind. And now it's this offensive line against Josh Sweat and Calais Campbell and, blitzes and all kind. Who knows what Gannon could cook up. Niners have to play from behind. The Niners are kind of a front-running team. They're significantly better when they have a lead than they are if they have to play from behind. So do not fall behind in this game. It's kind of like the New York Giants game. You saw how desperate Shanahan was he went for it on fourth down in his own territory on the second possession because he knew you fall into a 14-0 hole against this Giants team. They're not good, but they can rush the passer. And the same thing you can say about this Cardinal team. They're not good. They can't stop the run. They don't have Mack Wilson. You should be able to get their rookie Ohio State linebacker Simon blocked and run it up and down the field on him all day. But if you fall into a 14-0 hole and you can't run, and now all of a sudden it's your passing game and your offensive line against Calais Campbell, Josh Sweat, and their blitz package with your turf toe injured quarterback who has lost some mobility and maybe some arm strength. Yeah, that is not the way it needs to go down for the 49ers. They need to get a lead. They need to play with a lead. And that's just absolutely first and foremost. Got to get a lead. Got to get a lead. Got to get a lead. Got to play with the lead. It's important for all teams, but it's really, really important for the Niners. They're just a totally different team when they have a lead as opposed to when they don't have a lead. I do want to throw one mention in here for our sponsors, Habbas, the Habbas Law firm. They're a great sponsor, 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. Habbas Law, Omar and Tarek Habbas, great PI attorneys. If you need a great attorney, they're it. They're fantastic. And, you can check them out at habbaslaw.com, HABBASlaw.com. What I really love about having these guys as a sponsor is how just rooted into our community they really are. They put out this initiative earlier this week. The holidays are about warmth, connection, and home, but for too many people in Northern California, food and shelter are not guaranteed. I don't know if you guys know this, but 1 in 3 people struggle to afford food. Thousands live without shelter. There's families that are in the holiday season. I mean, it's a happy time for a lot of us, but a lot of people, it's a crisis. And they've got kids going to bed hungry, and it's just a nightmare. So 49er faithful, you guys are really, really great. We always love the Niner fans. They're very good, and they're very charitable. And the faithful always shows up when it matters most to support your team, and now our community needs you to show up for them as well. This November, you can join Habbas Law supporting Martha's Kitchen. Martha's Kitchen is an organization that serves 200,000 meals every month to people who need hope. And let's feed more than ourselves this year. And we all can help out. So if you want to help out, and I do appreciate the people who can, and I totally get it. If you can't, I totally get it. If you can't help because it's just not the right time in your life, and you're having your own challenges, I totally get that. And this message is not for everybody. But if you can help, if you are in that spot where you can help others, visit marthas-kitchen.org and you can donate today. Marthas, MARTHAS dash in the middle, kitchen.org, and you can donate today. Habbas Law, always fighting to make it right. Thank you, Omar and Tarek Habbas, for these kinds of initiatives and for being rooted in the community. And being behind these types of things. And I'm proud to be associated with Habbas Law, and I'm proud to be associated with positive community things like that. And I get it. Not everybody. Heck, I mean, it's some people are just having a hard time just making their own ends meet right now. And if that's you, I totally get it. I totally get it. I've been there, and I totally get it. Marthas-kitchen.org. Anybody who can help, I would appreciate it if you could. We all, what's the old song? We get by with a little help from our friends. The Beatles song from way, way back. And it really is true. Now, the next line in the song is we get high with a little help from our friends, but you know what I'm saying. You get the overall message. Don't send a bunch of drugs to marthas-kitchen.org, please. But if you can send any money to help them buy food for people that don't have food during the holidays, man, that would be cool. And, if one person in our audience, we got millions of views on this channel. Lots of people see these streams, whether they see them live or they see them on tape. If there's one person that says, hey, you know what? I am doing really well, and I'm going to help marthas-kitchen.org, and I'm going to send them a few bucks so they can buy food for people that don't have food during these cold winter months and this holiday season. If there's one person like that, man, that's awesome. And I appreciate every single one of you guys. And I appreciate how difficult it is for people this time of year. So anyway, just want to say thanks to Habbas Law as well for, once again, 1-800-INJURED. They're a great law firm. They will fight to make it right. HabbasLaw.com on the web. Thanks to Habbas for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right. That is going to do it for us today. I think I'm going to head over because I've got a radio show in 9 minutes. So I'm going to get some water. D says, rambling for a good cause. Yes, I'm sorry. Another guy's like, hey, you're rambling. Yeah, I hear you. But I am all about these good causes. And if I can help out in any way, if you guys can help out in any way, gosh, that's awesome. And I appreciate all you guys. I really do. And I understand. If you can't help, I totally get it. And believe me, I've been there. All right, that is going to. Someone said I smell 2 Purdy interceptions. I will say this: I definitely think Purdy throws a pick. I definitely think he throws a pick because he takes chances and he throws 50-50 balls, and he's not necessarily had those reps with his receivers. So I do think Purdy throws a pick in this game. All right, I'm going to talk more about this game for the next hour because from 10 a.m. till 11 a.m. Pacific, I'm going to be on KMBR for 49er Forecast here in Northern California, 680 AM, 104.5 FM. You listen on iHeartRadio if you're out of the market, because I know lots of you are. iHeartRadio, just type in KMBR 680, and I'll be there. The great Jordan Elliott from NBC Sports Bay Area is going to join me around 10:15. I'm really fired up to talk ball with him. And we'll throw out some of those topics that I threw out here, and we'll just get into it in a little bit more depth on the radio. So check me out 8 minutes from now over on KMBR. Thanks for jumping into the Krug Show. Thanks to A Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Sleeper. Thanks to Habbas Law. Thanks to all of you for being proud sponsors of the Krug Show. Peace. Join me on the radio. Later. Yeah, never met a man I've been